Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today my sister is going to be making a cake, an American sponge cake, and this is how she prepares it for one of her orders that she's going to be making today.
Hi guys, I'm going to be starting off with eggs. Okay, the key here is to have cold eggs. That's the important part here. For this recipe, you need eggs, you need a pinch of vanilla, and this is the vanilla powder, not the vanilla liquid. Baking soda. This is gonna be for a different cake, but this is cocoa powder. Sugar, all regular sugar, corn oil, and we have cake flour. It's not all-purpose flour, just to let you guys know, and water. So for this, you're gonna wanna separate the egg whites into the mixer, and you're gonna do the egg yolk into mixing by hand. It's okay to get your hands dirty, or if you have gloves, go ahead and use some gloves. You're gonna be removing all the egg whites and just leaving the egg yolk. Make sure you do this with clean hands if you're not gonna be using gloves. Make sure you don't get any eggshells on your order, because you don't want people eating eggshells. If you get any egg yolk inside your egg whites, you can use a little paper towel just to dab it in there and try to get the egg yolk part out. But if you get it complete like this, there shouldn't be any issues. You could just scoop it up. I should have it, your egg whites and your egg yolks. So now that you have your egg whites, you're gonna go ahead and put it in the mixer, and then you could put it any speed. I'm gonna put it for medium while I do everything else. I add a pinch. You know what a pinch is. Pinch of the powdered vanilla. Remember, everyone, that always separate your dry ingredients and your wet ingredients. So we're doing the dry ingredients right now. We're gonna be adding the cake flour. So you have your dry ingredients, make sure you mix them. Baking powder, your pinch of vanilla, and your flour. Now we're gonna go with the wet ingredients. Now we're gonna add all the wet ingredients. So first we're gonna add some water. And we're gonna add the corn oil. Let me mention to you that I have separated the sugar. And the sugar, we're gonna start adding it onto our mixture that's going on the blender right now. We're gonna go ahead and mix all the wet ingredients first. Okay, now that we have everything mixed on the wet, we're gonna start adding the dry ingredients. So you're not gonna add everything in there at once. You're gonna separate into three. Okay, once you feel like all the little clumps of flour are gone, go ahead and add another part to it. Definitely building muscle here. Okay, so that last part. Okay guys, once you have the egg whites on this consistency, all enough fluffy, you're gonna start adding your sugar, but not all at once. You're gonna be putting a little bit at a time. Give it a couple minutes so it can mix, and then you'll turn it off and it's gonna be ready. Okay, you're gonna grab your spatula, just mix in all the sugar from the sides. And you see this consistency is thick. It's the egg whites with the sugar. It makes it thick. You have your egg whites ready. You're gonna start mixing it into our hand mixture. But we're the same thing. You're not gonna put everything all at once. You're gonna divide it into 3 parts. You don't have to be precise. You 3 parts. Slowly mix it in there. You don't have to whip it all around because you don't want a soaky mixture. So we're gonna use 3 6-inch cake molds. This one you don't need butter, you don't need oil, you don't need to spray anything in there. It won't stick. If you have the baking sheet, the thin baking sheet, if you want to put it in there, you could do so. But I don't have the size for this one, so we're not gonna add anything, and it won't stick. Make sure to use this is not aluminum, but the aluminum ones work perfectly. Fill it up. I would say 80 to 90% of the way. It won't create a big bulge on the top when you bake. Okay, we're gonna put it in the oven, 340 degrees. If you have space, try to put it in the middle.
This is how they're supposed to look like coming out of the oven. Very fluffy and golden in color.
We're gonna bake the second tier or the bottom tier of the cake, which is gonna be chocolate. I'm adding the baking powder. You add the baking powder, make sure you squish out all the air bubbles. Remember, cake flour, not all-purpose flour. For this one, since this one's gonna be a chocolate bottom, we're gonna add cocoa powder. And like always, mix your dry ingredients first, and then we're gonna go with the wet ingredients. You're mixing all your powders, cocoa powder, so you won't get any lumps when you're baking. Mixing our liquid ingredients: water, corn oil, and then we're gonna add the eggs. Okay, remember our egg yolks and egg whites are separated, and cold egg. Okay, we're gonna mix all the liquids first before adding the dry ingredients. We're gonna be adding part of the mixture. Make sure you mix everything well so you won't have any little clumps of powder. We're gonna be adding the sugar in section. Okay, we're adding all the rest of the powder ingredients so we can mix everything together. Our egg white mixture is done. The sugar, and we're gonna start adding to our chocolate. We're gonna use 3 8-inch cake pans. You don't need to put butter or oil either, just the the pan liner if you have some. If not, that's fine, it won't stick. And you're gonna fill it up about 90% of the way. Okay, we're gonna try not to put them under each other, so I'm gonna put 2 on the top, 1 in the middle. And then we're gonna bake it at 340 for about 25 minutes. You're gonna go around the edges to loosen up the bread. If you see that it doesn't come out right away, just go another time. Bread. I'm gonna put it back in there. I'm gonna wrap them up right now to put in the freezer for tomorrow. We're gonna be making the fillings. We're gonna wrap them. There's bags that you could buy to freeze the bread in. I just need to buy some. But for now, since we don't have any, we're gonna use a clear seal. This, we're just gonna wrap the bread to put it in the freezer to be able to decorate it tomorrow. Make sure you wrap it completely. Make sure whenever you're wrapping to put them in the freezer that you make sure that the bread is completely cool to avoid any persons getting sick because of the bread being hot and put in the freezer. You want to make sure that everything is closed because nobody likes the freezer smell and taste. Okay, here you go. Put something like this. Let's repeat for the next one. Okay, we're just gonna add them in the freezer. Move something like that so they won't squish your bread. We're gonna start making the filling and we're gonna whip some pastry pride on medium speed.
That's how it's supposed to look like when it's all blended together. Very thick.
Okay, now we're gonna mix some heavy whipping cream. This one on high, just remember not to get your eyes off of it because it will be done quick.
So this is how it's supposed to look like after a minute.
Okay, so after you're done with your red pastry pride and your heavy whipping cream, you're gonna mix it all together with your Bavarian. So Bavarian, you could buy it on Amazon. You can buy it in most bakery supplies where they sell ingredients and everything. So what I'm doing, I'm putting everything inside a bowl. We're gonna mix it in a bit. Remember to always wash your hands because you'll be using them a lot.
A Barbarian. This will go in the cake. Now we added Nutella to the filling.
Separated the side of just the Bavarian filling because they want Bavarian and the Nutella. For the cream, we're gonna be using buttercream. This is just simple vanilla buttercream. You're gonna have your butter melted. Don't over melt it because we still want it to fluff up when you're mixing it. And then put in the mixer for medium speed. Then we'll check back with you when it's done. So the next step will be to add your cornstarch, your powdered sugar, and a pinch of the vanilla powder. So we're gonna go ahead and add that while the mixture is going. Okay, I'm gonna add part, mix it in a little bit, and then add the rest. So you're trying to avoid all of that from happening. You're gonna mix it in slowly so all your powder won't go all over the place. And then at the end you can start scraping off with your spatula the sides just so you could get all the powder from the top. And for this one, the powdered sugar, I'm just gonna stop it and add it in there because I don't want everything to fall out. I'm gonna do half and then I'll add the other half. And then make sure to cover as well. Or start slowly, just so to start mixing. Started taking out the bread from the freezer. What I'm doing is cutting off the top part of the bread. Just try to make it as flat as possible. And from the bottom. Okay guys, so we have everything ready here for us. Top out here we're gonna do vanilla with strawberries. So what we're gonna do is put a little bit of buttercream in the bottom just so your bread won't move. And what we're gonna do is moisten your bread. This is just liquid sugar so your bread won't be dry. We're gonna do the layers, the filling, and the bread, the crumb coat. Remember when you're adding fresh fruits or chocolate or anything that you're adding in your filling, remember to be generous. Your clients will be grateful. Don't be stingy in your food, but don't overdo it either. You don't want your cake to fall apart. And cut your pieces into bite-sized pieces. You don't want to, when you're going to get your spatula, just going to press them down a little bit and ready for the next layer. Did the same process, cut the cake, we added the cream cheese on the side, and now we're doing the Nutella filling with some chocolate chips. For this, we don't want to add too much so it will be too sweet. We just want enough so whenever they take a bite, they get a little piece of chocolate. Okay guys, I went ahead and covered the buttercream with color red for the top tier and blue for the bottom tier. This is how it looks. Okay guys, I wasn't able to record and complete the job, but here's the after look. We used some fondant. We ordered a couple arrangements for Amazon, and here's the final look.